This will be your only warning.
Your savior is here! Ah! Did you miss me?
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I didn't see you there. This episode of Loki Reviews is brought to you by Cinderlands Brewing Company. It's not. But if you live in the greater Pittsburgh area and you haven't been to Cinderlands, I highly recommend checking them out. They make this like mimosa tart shake IPA that I'm obsessed with. So, cheers. But nevertheless, my name is Brandon and welcome to my spoiler review for episode 2 of Loki. Before I continue, if you enjoy this video or any of my reviews, please consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with any of the videos that I release on my channel. I put out videos like this every single week and will continue to do this through the Marvel season to come. And real quick, I would like to apologize for any of the audio distortions that you might hear during this episode. I'm kind of working through how to record my audio and video properly. I'm not the most tech savvy individual, but it's a work in progress and hopefully I can get in touch with the right people to figure this out. I don't know. Either way, if it sounds like crap, now you know why. But although there isn't a lot to dissect in Loki quite yet, not as much compared to the likes of WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a show focused around Tom Hiddleston's highly charismatic Loki, paired with Owen Wilson's Marvel's Time Cop, lends itself to a very entertaining show, and the opening sequence kind of helps prove that, at least for a Shrek fan like me.
I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need.
Hit it! All right, big fella, let's crash this party.
While episode 1 was essentially a speed run through Loki's character development as we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far, episode 2 paces itself and helps us familiarize ourselves with the TVA, who seemingly collect relics over the course of history during their multiverse branch pruning endeavors. Ravonna Renslayer's office is littered with these relics, as well as some oddball off-the-cuff products that have been discontinued in the past. Things like Josta, an energy drink that was discontinued in 1999, and Boku fruit juice that only ran for a few years in the early 2000s. And then we are introduced to another product that kind of fits in line with this, Kablooey bubblegum, which apparently wasn't invented until the late 2040s. But quite frankly, I kind of love how slow this episode is and how we're able to just embrace the chemistry between Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. I mean, I could listen to them talk about riding jet skis and existential crises all day long.
In the early 1990s, for a brief, shining moment, there was a beautiful union of form and function, which we call the jet ski. A reasonable man cannot differ.
You ever been on one?
No.
It'll be fun, though.
Yeah. It'd be really fun.
Though it's no surprise that Loki spends the majority of this episode trying to figure out ways to double-cross the TVA. I mean, it's in its nature. And with the TVA hunting a supposed Loki variant, something they seem to have spent a lot of time doing in the past, bringing up images of other Loki variants, like a Frost Giant Loki or a Tour de France Loki, what looks to be a Hulk Loki, and a Viking Loki straight from the comics. Our Loki feels like he could use the TVA's agenda of hunting this Loki variant to his advantage. And because the TVA is so used to hunting down Loki variants, I'm sure they're expecting his double-crossing schemes. Which it's interesting to see Agent Mobius kind of counteract Loki's agenda, but also spends the majority of the time vouching for Loki to earn the approval of Ravonna Renslayer. The two of them kind of seem to have like a flirtatious workplace banter, which could in turn be hinting at something else entirely. These comments about her having another side agent other than him, and the fact that he doesn't remember leaving ring stains on her table, could hint to the fact that there are multiple Agent Mobiuses in the TVA, something straight out of the comics. Mobius is actually not the only one. He's a clone of infinite Agent Mobiuses that that all work in different aspects of the TVA. If this is the case, this could play into the fact of him turning against the TVA and working with Loki to upset the balance of the sacred timeline. Either that, or this could be hinting at another workplace romance for Ravenna Renslayer. Because in the comics, she actually has heavy ties to the time-traveling warlord Kang the Conqueror. I would also like to point out that the Timekeeper that is traditionally shown in the middle has a striking resemblance to Jonathan Majors, who is set to appear as Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man Quantumania. That in pair with the symbolism of her always being situated underneath the face or statue of that middle Timekeeper, this could ultimately be foreshadowing to her connection with Kang the Conqueror. It would actually be a simplified and easy retcon in the MCU if they just made one of the Timekeepers Immortus, the future self of Nathaniel Richards and Kang the Conqueror. And seeing as how the Timekeepers are responsible for sending Immortus after Wanda Maximoff because of her Nexus level powers, it seems that Phase 4 of Marvel is simply planting the seeds for a Nexus level event, something we will probably see in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Either way, I'm jumping off that Mephisto boat and I'm hopping on the Kang train.
Merchandise, Morty. Your only purpose in life is to buy and consume merchandise, and you did it.
After all is said and done, Loki decides to help Mobius track down this Loki variant, most likely to serve his own agenda, but helping nonetheless. Also, whoever's idea it was to put Loki in a library, I mean, we already established the fact that he likes to talk. Not typically a place you want to put someone that talks so much.
Go on, tell me.
But stumbling upon the Ragnarok apocalyptic event file, Loki comes to the conclusion that this variant is more than likely hiding in points of history that deal with apocalyptic events.
So, let's just say
What are you doing?
your salad is Asgard.
No,
in this scenario.
it's not Asgard. That's
it's
my
a metaphor.
lunch.
Just hang in there.
Asgard is not a place. It's a
Salad.
Seeing as how this variant can get away with doing the things that they're doing without creating branches in the timeline and being caught by the TVA. So to test this theory, Loki wants to travel to Pompeii, the location of the devastating Mount Vesuvius eruption that wiped out an entire civilization.
Oh. Pompeii.
Which is also being speculated as a location that we might see again in the Eternals movie, potentially setting up a connection between Loki and the Eternals. Now, knowing this theory is correct, they pinpoint the location of where this variant might be hiding by tracking the pinpoint location of the Kablooey bubblegum from the 2040s. They travel to Alabama in the year 2050, where a hurricane or a tsunami is set to wipe out a city or a town, more specifically the supermarket called Roxcart, which houses the same logo format as the Roxxon Energy Corporation, a company that we have seen pop up in the background of past Marvel movies like Iron Man, as well as it being responsible for a lot of the villains and conflicts in the Marvel comics. Characters like Flag Smasher and Mr. Sinister, having ties to characters like Daredevil and Spider-Man. I don't think this means anything big, but a cool Easter egg nonetheless. This Roxcart supermarket is where the Loki variant has set up camp, as well as seemingly set up a ploy to sabotage the TVA. This Loki variant is revealed to be a female version of Loki, which makes sense seeing as how the TVA has registered Loki as being gender fluid, something that is canon in the comics and very cool to see them adapt to the big screen. Or small screen. Lady Loki is actually a fun little nod to the Ragnarok storyline in the comics, where all of the Asgardians except for Thor are killed during the Ragnarok event and are reincarnated into new forms. Loki is reincarnated into a female form, and further referred to as Lady Loki. Loki has actually been reincarnated a handful of times, and even reincarnated as a child, Kid Loki. But after seeing a small example of this Lady Loki's powers, I'm starting to suspect that this might not actually be Loki after all. The enchantments that this Loki is performing, and I use that word specifically, enchantments, taking over and manipulating the body of multiple people in the supermarket, is actually something that the character Enchantress is well known for. And fun fact, Sophia DiMartino's character who plays this Lady Loki is actually credited under the name Sylvie, which is the name of one of the enchantresses from the comics. Nevertheless, this rogue variant releases TVA reset devices to multiple points in history. Places like Thornton, USA in the 1500s, Asgard in the year 2004, Sakaar in the year 1984, the planet Ego in the year 1382, Thanos' homeworld of Titan in 1982, New York in 1947, Tokyo in 1984 as well, well, the planet Hala in the year 0051, Xandar in the year 1001, and Beijing, China in the year 2005, just to name a few. Some of these could have actually been incidents that our characters in the Marvel Universe are aware of or were a part of. But that wouldn't make sense because if the TVA monitors the sacred timeline and any of these branches to the timeline are actually incidents that shouldn't have happened, then technically our characters wouldn't have experienced all of these. But if time as a construct like we know it to be and the TVA exists outside of that time and space, and their future is actually their past and their present is all-knowing, then technically couldn't have all these branches existed before and after the existence of the sacred timeline and before and after the existence of the timekeepers? Whoa.
Why should I live in history, huh? Like, I don't want to know anything anymore. When someone once told me time is a flat circle. Again. And again. And again. Forever.
If you like to hear me talk about Loki, please consider subscribing. I put out videos like this every single week and will continue to do this for the shows moving forward. Hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with any of the videos that I put out on my channel. Why did I say it like that? Please go follow me over on Twitter at @bmattweiss. You can come yell at me about the things I talk about on my channel, as well as any nerdy stuff you want to talk about. Come chat with me. I'm nice. And you can follow me over on Twitch. You know what? Don't even bother with that one. I got so many technical problems, I'm not going to be able to stream anytime soon. I might make some video game content for my YouTube channel, but in terms of streaming, don't worry about it. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Damn, that's good.
Thanks a lot. Bye.